This video and its content has been rated G for general audiences, explored by LumaFusion, published to YouTube, and has been given the annual support from viewers like you.
Thomas the Tank Engine's rolling along. All of his friends will be coming along. Thomas, we love you. Thomas, we love you. Thomas, we love you.
When waking up at Tim's sheds in the morning, the engines puff down the direction towards the east of the island. However, there are two tracks on the left with the goods station right next to it, and down the opposite direction is the west coast reaching Tidmouth, where the low western branch line officially begins. Between Tidmouth and Allsburg Harbor is the Sudrick Sea and sandy beaches. There is also the Hawick branch line that starts at Allsburg Harbor and meets with the low western. Daisy and Skiff both take passengers, and Ryan hauls the goods trains. All residents from both sides of the harbor greet each other warmly whenever they pass. They are all usually very happy and peaceful, especially during the summer. But this year, there was a problem. Oliver was hurrying along the coast with two branch line coaches, and Toad at the back.
Be careful, Mr. Oliver. I'm bouncing around back here.
Relax, Toad. I know what I'm doing. Oliver's train had been delayed at Tidmouth due to a passenger with heat stroke. He was being mindful about his brake van passengers while also rushing down the line, trying to make up the lost time. But he wouldn't be doing so for long, for there was a sun kink on the rails, leading towards the beach near Huldthraw. A surfer was walking with his board beside the rails when he noticed the damaged track, as well as Oliver coming his direction. The surfer blew his whistle and waved his red flag like a guard. Driver, brakes!
What's going on back there?
Look out!
Mr. Oliver!
My leg! Luckily, the sudden jolt on the buckled tracks uncoupled Oliver from his brake van coaches, and the surfer had ran away before the incident.
Right?
But the 2T tank engine had gotten both sand and seawater in the system. Duck might have laughed at Diesel's boat getting wet, but me...
Mr. Oliver, I'd be careful with the language if I were you. There are little kids playing in the ocean over there.
Oh dear, we're sure to be late now. At least the passengers will understand. I don't understand. Why is it that whenever I go on the engines, something bad happens to me?
Well, maybe you should stop riding passenger trains then. How about you stop complaining and enjoy the view like I am? Just look at the lovely ocean out there, and the sand, and the seagulls, and...
Shut up! That evening, Duck returned to the Tidmouth goods shed, where he saw Douglas, who had taken Oliver's passengers, telling his twin about the day's events. Now just to let you know, the Tidmouth goods shed is located at the entrance of Tidmouth Yards, where the engines on the low western branch line rest at, and wake up going west, while the other engines at Tidmouth head east, so as not to get confused with the roundhouse. Anyways, have a hat.
Good evening, everyone. I'm sure you all know about Oliver's accident by now. Well, I hate to say this, but his chassis got damaged badly by the sand in Sudrick Sea.
Now I know how Scruffy feels!
So it will take at least a couple weeks to repair him.
Beg pardon, sir, but there's already a lot of work going on around here. There's more holiday makers than goods, and Donald and Douglas have goods trains to pull from here across the island.
Aye, he's not long.
Don't worry, everyone. I've seen how busy the branch line is. But luckily, a few days ago, I borrowed a new engine from Severn Valley Railway, and he will arrive at Arlesburg Harbor tomorrow evening. But for now, get some rest so you can keep up with all the hard work. Hopefully one less engine should at least be okay.
Yes, sir. We will, sir.
I can't wait to meet the new engine, but it wouldn't be the same without Mr. Oliver.
I was feeling you'd say something like that. Tell you what, until Oliver gets mended, I'm going to send you to Norramby on the East Coast to work with Arthur at the fishing village. The steamworks isn't far from the Norramby branch line, so you may visit him in the evenings.
Thank you, sir.
The next day, all the residents of the Little Western and Harwick branch line worked hard as usual, taking goods and passengers to and fro. Before anyone knew it, it was 6 p.m., around the time that Ryan would pick up the new engine, who'd been shipped to Allsburg Harbor.
Wait a minute.
However, it was also around this time that Duck's surprise was about to be revealed.
Is that?
Monty? Hey, how's it going? I haven't seen you for nearly 70 years.
Wait, you two know each other?
Donald, Douglas, Ryan, this is one of my twin brothers from the Great Western Railway.
Indeed. The name's Charles, after the famous designer of many Great Western engines, Charles Collette. I'm currently preserved with two of my sisters on the Severn Valley Railway.
Oh, a reunion. But wait, how come you've never talked about him?
Probably because I had over 850 siblings back in the day.
Wait, how many of you pounding a tank engines are there today?
About 16.
Oh, well, that's depressing.
Anyways, out of every twin I was built with, Charles was closest to me.
He's right. Me, him, and the rest of our twins were both built on the 31st of March in 1929 and co-worked together along the Sunshine Line.
We also bond with other colleagues who were also built in the Great Western region, including the city of Truro, though I didn't really meet him until I came to Sodor. I'll never forget how I felt before I left for Sodor.
Good luck on the Isle of Man, Monty. I hope you'll show your new home what us Great Western engines are made of.
I will. Farewell, everyone. I was rather nervous but excited to start a new life on the island, and I still love it here to this day.
Well, glad you're enjoying yourself. Monty.
I prefer duck, thank you.
Oh.
Anyways, I'll leave you to it. I have to get back to Allsburg Harbor now. Later that night, Duck, Donald, and Douglas were telling Charles about their adventures since they arrived on the island. Duck was first as they were siblings. Charles was impressed.
Wow. 2 GWR engines putting 3 big engines in their place, encountering a bus and a steamroller against the railway, ripping a truck in half, building a branch line, and hauling the express twice? Sounds like you had some great adventures. Come to think of it, I think maybe I've heard some of those tales before from Audrey.
Yup, good times.
Sure seems like it, Monty.
Would you please stop calling me by my real name? I like Duck.
How can you possibly like being called such a ridiculous name? From what you used to tell me, there are 2 ways of doing things. The Great Western Way and the wrong way. The wrong way is making yourself look like a quacking idiot.
Boy!
Great Western Railway? More like getting the wrong reputation as a silly bird. First Mallard and now...
Oi, I heard that. He's my brother, you know.
Shut up, A4!
Why, I oughta.
Would you all quit bickering about such nonsense and go to sleep? You're giving me and Dougie a funnel egg.
Fine.
So much for a nice vacation for the Duke and Duchess.
Charles just closed his eyes and went to sleep after a long journey, while Duck was both awake and worried. He'd always known his twin to be very proud of his Great Western heritage. Duck was as well, and sometimes annoyed the other engines because of it. But the difference here was that Charles tended to be pessimistic, stubborn, and rude, especially when he criticized something.
Some things never change, and I don't mean in a good way.
Fortunately, the next morning, Duck and Charles forgot about the situation as they waited at Tidmouth Station for holidaymakers to board the slip coaches. They were going to take them to Allsburg Harbor, where they would transfer them to Daisy so she could carry them on to Harwick Beach.
Ah, good old Slippies.
Hello, Duck. Looks like you've got a new livery.
Montague's actually behind me, and you said his name wrong.
Just kidding, Charles. I've heard of your assistance to Oliver on Facebook. Hope you enjoy your visit here.
Many thanks, ma'am. You hear that? I'm famous on the internet.
Well, at least I'm important to Audrey, unlike you.
Whatever.
Their first stop was at Tidmouth Halt. Charles and Duck were both enjoying the view of the seaside village, but there was something else Charles could have sworn he saw.
Monty, can we please move back a bit?
Wait, what?
I said move back!
What the? Where are you going?
There, next to the station on the front right, were 2 coaches on rails with buffers at each end on static display. One was a red branch line coach, and the other was
A Falmouth Coupe Great Western Break Coach.
Oh, that's Old Slow Coach.
Duck explained that Old Slow Coach and Dexter were actually being used as both luxurious hotels and tourist attractions. Old Slow Coach joined after the workman's hut was mended, but once the Harwick School was fixed as well, they had Dexter join. After all, they had both served similar purposes.
You know, I remember when Thomas told me about the coaches at the old Farquhar landmine.
I don't care what the point of them being there is. Those two shouldn't be rotting over there. They should be looking at a real scenery going down the line instead of being used as some stupid things like a classroom and workman's hut and treated like they belong nowhere but a scrapyard. Especially that brake coach. And why on earth would you call her Old Slow Coach?
Maybe it's the same for me when it comes to being called Duck. I like it.
But Charles didn't care. He just huffed to himself. For the rest of the day, Charles continued to be a pessimistic rebel. He would complain about climbing hills, even after they'd reached the top.
Screw those landscapers.
Both on the way to Arlsburg Harbor and on the return journey, he criticized Daisy and Skiff for their ugly or strange appearances, and even laughed at the size of the major gauge engines, being even more horrid than the passengers.
I can't believe one of you is even a century old. 100 years of being a useless toy.
I take abuse on a nearly daily basis. And if you asked him what happened at the Arlsburg West crossing, he'd say they hadn't gone 2 minutes without being held up by a stupid broken down bus like Albie.
Get moving, you stupid blue boy. Me and Duck have work to do.
Duck didn't want to start a conflict with his brother, but he was starting to lose patience rapidly. And on their second journey from Timoth to Knapford Harbor, when dropping off passengers to catch a ferry, he was about to let the dog out of the pound.
Phew! Thank goodness we're here. That smell is so strong. It's not even behind me anymore.
Hello there, Duck. Oh, who's this?
Hello there. My name is Charles, and my brother and I are here to... Wait a minute. You're an LMS IV class tank engine, aren't you?
Indeed. My name is Arthur. I occasionally come here from the Normanby branch line to deliver goods. Where do you come from?
I come from the Severn Valley Railway. There are many of us pannier tanks preserved in different places. The Deadkit Railway Centre, Dean Forest, South Devon, Keighley and Worth Valley.
Keighley and Worth Valley? I was built there a crew with a few of my siblings like Barry and 41241.
Oh, what is that smell?
Oh, it's probably the fish in these vans. I'm dropping them off here for Henry's Flying Keeper.
Wait a minute, I've heard that name before. Isn't he the one who fell on his side and got rebuilt at Crewe?
Yes, I believe so. Why are you asking me that?
You mean that hodgepodge failure? Hope he doesn't break down in less than a minute. He's a disgrace to Stanier and Gresley.
Oi, you do realize you're offending me as an engine from the LMS, right?
Arthur was cross. He thought Charles was a nice engine. But he had just realized the other red engine's true colors, and Duck had just about had it.
I am truly appalled by your behavior back there. I've always known you to think highly of yourself, but this is far enough.
What? All I'm doing is pointing out my reasons why some things on this line are just ridiculous. Just be quiet and get a life, Monty.
And for Steve's sake, stop calling me Montague!
You know what, you green goose? You and that stupid nickname can go drown in the ocean for all I care.
Alright, that's it. I'll show you some true death.
Whoa!
Duck was so furious, he ran into Charles rapidly and started going extremely fast down the line.
Slow down! You're killing our passengers!
They were going so fast that Charles couldn't see ahead of him. Little did they know that along the line, Murdoch was puffing along the outskirts of Callan, ready to take a goods train from Tidmouth. However, the points on Duck and Charles's line were jammed, leading towards the opposite line, so the signalman had to set the signal to red so that Murdoch could pass first. But...
This'll teach you, you red fiery son of a...
Oh! Ouch!
Ah, this is bad!
Luckily, the engines weren't damaged, and the passengers were unharmed, but Murdoch's goods train, as well as Charles, were derailed. He was furious at Duck.
You big green buffer hole! Now look what you've done!
How is this my fault? Maybe you should have been paying attention to the line.
Rubbish! If you hadn't pushed me at top speed, I wouldn't have crashed.
Duck and Charles started an argument, and the passengers were complaining about what a bad railway it was. It was all too much for Murdoch.
Tell me, where did we go so wrong?
Soon enough, the mess was all sorted out. Donald took the slip coaches away, while Duck and Charles got a stern talking to.
What kind of confusion and delay has been going on here? I thought you two would know better when it comes to passengers.
I hope you're saying that to this guy only.
Screw you, Monty. You were the one pulling the coaches.
Maybe if you weren't so colorblind, you would have seen the red signal.
You want to say that again, you mother?
Both of you will speak one at a time.
So Duck and Charles each explained both their sides of the story. When they had finished, the Fat Controller was furious.
Charles, you shouldn't have been rude to your colleagues in residence, but that doesn't give Duck the right to push you as fast as he did, not to mention running a red signal. Both of you have caused confusion and delay for both the passengers and Murdoch, and until I can trust you to co-work together again, I'll have to separate you to different parts of the island. Charles, I would normally punish you for your behavior, but it's only your first day, and you're not my engine, so you'll be demoted to local services between Tidmouth and Knapford Harbor. I will let Mr. Dunster decide otherwise. And Duck, since your careless behavior caused an accident, you're being transferred to Knapford Yards at a station pilot.
But sir...
No buts. Donald and Douglas will look after the slip coaches, and I want both of you to head back to Tidmouth immediately.
Yes, sir.
Right beside them, Neville was picking up Murdoch's goods train and taking him to the steamworks. The jolt from the trucks during the crash had damaged its coupling.
Let this be a lesson for you.
Both tank engines felt really ashamed now. The next morning, Duck was busy shunting trucks and coaches around the yards for the other engines to take. He saw Charles getting ready to set off for Knapford Harbor. Duck decided not to talk to him for the time being. For the rest of the day, both engines were mute during their work. They didn't speak a word to each other, but they got their jobs done without any fuss or trouble.
Listen, Thomas, I'm so sorry about what I said earlier. I didn't mean to make you upset, but I've been feeling bad about it all day.
However, their silence would soon be cut short, for no one was expecting what was going to occur that evening. Between Hultsthrow and Allsburg West is a cliffside hill. In recent years, it has been a spot for cliff diving into the ocean, with added fences. People go around the opening of the fence onto the other side, walk to the edge, and jump down with excitement.
Woohoo!
Tonight, there was a group of teenagers here to jump down the water. After watching her friends jump a few times, a girl named Jasmine walked towards the edge while one of her friends got out his phone and started recording. However, she started looking down and became very nervous. And as the old saying goes, if your friends jump off a cliff, are you going to as well?
You know what? Never mind.
What? Are you that serious? Get down there, you scaredy cat.
Nah, I'm way too hard for my comfort zone.
Nothing bad's gonna happen. I just went down there and I'm fine. Here, I'll give you a head start. 10, 9...
Tiffany, I don't think she wants to jump in. We should probably let her...
So you won't get down there, huh? Fine, I'll get you down there myself.
Oh my God!
What the hell's wrong with you?
Stop recording! Stop recording!
Back with Duck, after getting special permission to do so, he was taking a slow goods train to Tidmouth. He parked his trucks in the siding and was filling up on water. When...
Duck! I need you to go sort out some trouble at Hultsthrow. Charles forgot to fill up on coal and water before leaving here. Now he's stranded on the cliffside.
Well, considering how treated everyone else, I guess it serves him right.
You should be ashamed of yourself. Your brother's trying to take someone to the hospital.
Wait, what?
Apparently, some teenage girl was pushed off the edge of the cliff. She's currently in a coach that your brother brought over. But with him out of commission, he needs someone to push him to Wellsworth. You're the only engine available, so you need to head over there now.
Ma'am, I don't care if your friends fled the scene or not, because you're not going anywhere. We're gonna drop you off at Haltstrand to talk to the police, and then we're going straight to the hospital to take care of your friend.
But sir, I'm sorry. I didn't mean for this to happen.
Oh crud, it's my brother. He'll probably never let me hear the end of his bickering.
But surprisingly, Duck could see this was no time for quarrels. They had an emergency to take care of, so once they were coupled up to each other, they set off. Duck was going as fast as he could down the Little Western, but this time, for a good reason. He was determined to bring the girl to safety. They left the West Coast and rushed down the beginning part of the main line, even past the Crosby Barber Shop. Wellsworth Station loomed ahead, where Charles and Duck made an emergency stop. The ambulance was waiting to take the girl to the hospital. The Brandon residents were shocked, while the tank engines were relieved. The next morning, Duck paid a visit to his residence at the Tidmouth goods shed, where they were listening to the news story Tom Hat was watching on his phone. A girl named Tiffany Stevenson, 18, was found guilty of pushing her former friend Jasmine Hamilton off this 50-foot cliff on the Little Western branch line. Police picked her up at Holster and took her to the station at Arlsburg, where she'll be spending about 2 weeks behind bars, which according to the Wellsworth Hospital, is the determined duration of time that Jasmine will spend recovering there. Further punishments could also involve being charged with reckless endangerment, for it's actually illegal to push people off this cliff, and a 7-month community service sentence at the Peel Gouge Waste Dump. Police will decide during your stay with them.
Real Sam, I wish the best for him, young lassie. Aye, and that victim too.
Duck and Charles, I'm extremely proud of you. You may have run out of coal and water, Charles, but you and Duck did your part taking care of someone in urgent need. It's thanks to you that she's safely recovering in the hospital. This more than makes up for your earlier mistake.
Thank you, sir. I'm just glad I could help.
Brother?
Yes, Charles?
I'm sorry about the way I acted before. Not only was I a bit full of myself and gave unnecessary criticism, but I was also not used to some of the changes. I'm not the best when it comes to that kind of thing, and I feel ashamed for how rude I was. But from now on, I'm gonna work on bettering my ways and appreciating the time I have with you.
Thank you, brother. I forgive you. I'm sorry about pushing you into that goods train. I didn't mean to. I was cross about what you said and wasn't paying attention.
Thank you, Duck.
You said my name right. Thank you, brother.
Alright then, old boy. Now that that's settled, the flip coaches are waiting at the platform to be taken out. Are you two sure you're capable of doing that?
Yes, sir. Come on, Duck. Let's show them what us great Western tank engines are made of.
You just read my mind.
From that day on, Duck and Charles were very happy working together, and Charles got used to all the changes, and apologized to those he insulted. He even got the chance to meet other engines who also had friends and siblings that lived at Severn Valley. I remember when my brother from the Taliesin Railway had an overhaul there. Charles really enjoyed his visit to Sodor, but like all good things, this one eventually came to an end. Oliver eventually returned from the works, and Charles was ready for his long journey back home. So Tom Hat was in his brake van, coming with them to tell his controller about his events. Thanks for covering for me, Charles!
You're welcome, Oliver. It was amazing experiencing your work on your lovely branch line. And Duck, it was a real pleasure after seeing you for the first time in 67 years.
And it was a pleasure working with you as well. Hope we can see each other again someday.
Well, my railway may be a bit far, but your controller's gonna speak to mine about it. I'll make sure to visit here as many times as I can, if it takes 67 years more.
Safe travels, brother.
You ready to head back, Charles?
Yes, sir, I am. Farewell, everyone!
Glad to see that Mr. Oliver's back in service.
Duck still thinks about his brother from time to time and wonders how he's doing back home. But one thing's for sure is that he knows that the Tom Hat would never let him be permanently lost from him. Just like how in some scenarios, no duck was left unquacked.
Thomas the Tank Engine's rolling along. All of his friends will be coming along. Thomas, we love
Well, maybe you should stop riding passenger trains. Then, how about you stop complaining and enjoy the view like I am?
Actually, wait. Like, he's like, well, maybe you should stop riding passenger trains then.
You want more attitude?
A little bit.
Okay. Do it again now. Just look at the lovely ocean out there,
Now
and
it's
sand,
calm. Now
and
it's,
seagulls,
now it's
and
now it's like really calm. She's like, just look at the.
all right. Hello, ducks. Oops. Hello, duck. Looks like you've got a new red livery. What is it?
Livery. It's a paint job.
What the? Where are you going?
He's like, what the? Where are you going?